makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I have filmed this intro over and over and I don't even know the right way to start this video. I can't even say like, hi, I'm so excited, because honestly I'm so anxious and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to upload this video. But today's Chatty Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and jump right on in. I already did my brows and my concealer, like I primed my eyelids already. I've got a nice little glass of Stella Rosa Black here. So I normally don't talk about my products like in depth as I go for these videos, but for my eyeshadow I am going to be using this Lush palette from September, Rose Cosmetics. I'm going to mainly stick to the green row here, I believe. You guys requested that I use that more, so I'm going to do it today. Honestly, ooh, that's really yellow. Okay, yellow. Wow. I actually just uploaded a video today talking about how my next Chatty Wednesday wasn't going to be as deep. I mean, still like personal, but not quite as like making me anxious to upload it. But I sat down and I was going to do a video talking about, you know, how to be single and to be happy and content in your life. Like just like, you know, as a single woman. Because I know obviously it depends on like your situation, why you're single, if you've been in a like long-term relationship before, like all that can affect how you feel about being single, obviously. So I would just be talking from my experience. And I was like about to start filming and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about the thing that I'm so scared to talk about, and I don't even know why I'm so scared to talk about it. I mean, I have my reasons, but they're not really good reasons. They're just reasons for me to stay silent, I guess. Oh my gosh, that yellow, that shade called Banana, that is a bright banana yellow. I'm impressed. So today I'm going to be talking about domestic violence and basically escaping an abusive relationship. And I feel like, I don't know, my heart is so heavy when I even think about it that I really don't want to have to think about it or like even go through the emotions. But it's just something that, you know, I went through, that I was here I go, like I'm legit about to blame myself again for being young and dumb, but that's not an excuse for how I was treated. I'm so bad at doing that. So basically, if you don't know, I got married at 18. I was actually engaged at 17, and it was like the first person that I ever loved, like my first real serious relationship. And I think that's probably part of the reason why I didn't realize that so many things that I thought were normal were actually like really controlling tendencies. So I got married at 18. I was really in it for the long run. I didn't believe in divorce. I feel like a lot of my expectation for marriage came from my parents, which even though of course I've seen them fight, I've seen them argue, like they have been married for almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years this November. So I feel like they were a really good role model to me. Like as what I thought a marriage should be. And they got married really young, so that's what I wanted to do. I thought that's the path that was meant for my life, because, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why. I just thought that's what I was meant to do. Anyways, like I said, I got married really young, and the person that I was with, or like my husband, I don't even like calling him that because he's not what a husband should be. We'll just call him the mistake. That's what we'll just call him for this video. So the mistake was in the military, and therefore I had to move immediately. And I was moved into a whole nother state, somewhere I'd never been before, and I had to like, you know, just adjust, which wasn't a big deal because I grew up as a military brat, but it's a lot harder as an adult, like trying to make friends, trying to live out a life. And I felt like, I don't know, I feel like I was definitely just, it was a bad situation in general, like just always being at home, never really going out. The only person that I had was him. My family was thousands of miles, well, not thousands, I think they were like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 miles away at that point. So I mean, it was just like, you know, it was just setting me up for a disaster basically, because I think if, you know, the situation had happened differently and I had anyone to talk to or anyone close to me who would have known like that I was like in such a bad relationship, I think it would have helped a lot. But I felt really, really isolated, and I felt like when I got married, it was kind of like, well, I know I'm right kind of thing. Like people told me like, you're too young to get married, can't you go to school first, can't you do this, do that? And I'm like, no, like, we're gonna grow together, like, it's gonna be a good thing. Like, and he was in the military, so it was like, duh, like, obviously you're gonna get married. I don't know, it just, like, I was very, like, stubborn about it, and people would say things to me and I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right, but in the back of my mind I was like, there's no way I'm changing my mind. It doesn't matter what you say, nothing you say is gonna change how I feel. I'm marrying this dude. So I definitely did not have a really great mindset going on because I was so in love that that's all I cared about. I didn't care about my family's, like, I could tell that they kind of didn't like him, but they were too polite to say so, which now I'm like, I wish that they would have not been so polite. Like I said, I was super isolated, didn't have anyone really to go to. During the time when it was really bad, my best friend was in basic, so I couldn't even call her or anything. Like, I could only write letters to her, which I really sucked at. I didn't write any letters because I was dealing with my own crap. It was honestly just such a mess. And I feel like I used to be one of those people where I was like, how could you stay? How could you let someone treat you like that? Like, don't you have self-respect? And it's like, it doesn't just happen one day. Like, it just doesn't happen out of nowhere. It's like a gradual thing of pushing boundaries and just going too far, where it's like, you feel like it's almost like there's two sides of a person. And I don't know if anyone else who's been in a you know, an abusive relationship, and I'm talking like physically abusive. I mean, obviously emotionally abusive as well, but physically, that there's like two sides of a person, where it's like one part, it's like they're the person that you love and you see the good sides in them. You see, you know, the good things every once in a while, and I can still, even now, like, make excuses for him or whatever. But then there's also the other side, who's the monster, and you see the evil in them, and you see their hatreds towards you when they get angry or whatever it is. So it's kind of just, it feels so simple when you're on the outside. Like, how could you let them do that to you? How could you not leave immediately? But when you're in that situation, it's just not that easy. Unfortunately, because it's like battling like those two sides. Like, he treats me so bad, but I love him so much. Who will ever love me except him? I've already put all this time in my relationship. I got married to this person. Like, I can't just leave. So that was definitely my mind thought, even though, you know, it wasn't hard to tell that I wasn't happy. Like, I would like dream about like different lives, about being with different people. Not like in a relationship necessarily, but just doing different things where I'm not being controlled. And the thing is, like there's a saying, and it's like, when someone is super controlling or possessive of you, or like they always think you're cheating or whatever, it's because they're doing that. And that was definitely the truth in my relationship. And even though I hate the fact that I stuck it out when I was, you know, being tossed around like a rag doll basically, I think that the cheating is what really got me to leave. Because it was like, it's so sick the way that you think when you're in such a toxic relationship. Like, this idea, like, maybe he's treating me like this, but it's only me. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. But then when the mistake started cheating, I think that's when I really fell out of love with him. Trust me, girl, I didn't leave right away. I didn't leave right away. I'm so stupid. I'm the person who is so ride or die. Like, I'm so ride or die. Like, if I get married again to a decent person, we're gonna be married for like 4 decades, God willing, because I'm so ride or die. Like, if we both do each other right, if we both communicate, like, there's no way I would ever get another divorce. You know, there's obviously like just very special circumstances to me. So I feel like I tried so much. I tried to fix everything when it wasn't something I could fix, you know? So, I don't know, it took like 7 times of me being cheated on before I finally left. And it was even like, it was so sad. Like, I would find things and I would literally like, download Tinder in front of him and be like, I'm gonna go talk to other guys since you think it's perfectly fine, it's perfectly acceptable to talk to other people. And honestly, I would just do it to agitate him. I literally couldn't even swipe right or swipe left. It was like, I just could not do it, like, because I just was so, like, you know, involved in being married. I just couldn't even think of the idea of being with anybody else. It was honestly like every other normal relationship. There would be good days and bad days, except the good days would be so good and the bad days would be so bad. So when it was just me, it honestly wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it was like I was in a bad place, but I felt like I could handle it. But whenever I found out I was pregnant, I was such a mix of emotions. Like, I wanted to be happy, but at the same time I knew that I was not ready to have a child, and my relationship was not ready to have a child. Like, I was like, I don't want to have a child with this mistake. Like, I know the way he treats me. I know that he doesn't have any patience at all. What is he gonna do to my baby? Was kind of like the thought process that I had. But you want to believe the good in people, and honestly, I did not want to be a single mom, so I stayed longer. I kept staying. I was honestly, like, when I had like found out I was pregnant, I cried like sad tears because I was so not ready for it, like, at all, which still makes me mad to this day, because I'm like, it's just crazy how, like, I feel like guilty because I was not ready to have a child at all, and I got pregnant so easily. And then there's people out there who want babies so bad, and they can't have children, and that just, honestly, it upsets me more than I can say. But whenever my son was born, I think that's when reality really hit me, because it was me basically doing everything. And, you know, I'm not trying to get petty or anything, but even, you know, like, when I was, you know, the very first night after he was born, like, obviously I had a vaginal birth and I was in pain. I wasn't feeling the best, and I was the one who got up all night changing his diapers, keeping him from crying, while the mistake just slept on the couch and didn't help at all. And that's how it continued. Unless there were guests at our house, then he would have, you know, he had to put on a show for everyone. Okay, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to edit out from that, because I felt like I was getting a little bit whiny, and I don't want to get into like the nitty-gritty details. But it was just really hard doing everything myself with my son and not having a support system, it felt like, at all. And you know, I just got to the point where I was scared for my son. Like, there were just moments where, like, I never thought like that he would get hurt intentionally, but more as like a byproduct of trying to hurt me, if that makes sense. Very end of my relationship, there was one lucky day. It was just a random act. I picked up his phone to see, you know, what the weather was. I honestly wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted to see what the weather was, because I was in the room about to get dressed for the day, and I picked up his phone and I saw that he was cheating on me again. And, you know, I felt like at that point it wasn't even shock. Of course it was still hurt and pain, but he was obviously there because his phone was there. And I was like, I kicked him out of the house. I said, I'm done, I'm leaving, I want a divorce. And I feel like at that point he knew I was serious, because he didn't even like beg me. Because there were other times when I said I wanted to leave, and he would say like, you know, if you leave I'm gonna kill myself, like all these different threats to make me stay, which worked. If anyone ever tells you that, please don't believe them. And if they're gonna do it, like, in a relationship, like, find someone to help them, but it's not you. Don't let it feel like it's your responsibility, because that's just manipulative and controlling. But that was the day I decided to leave, and honestly it was such a horrible week, because, well, for one, his profession, he had a gun on him at all times. And if you guys know the statistics, that like majority of women who die from domestic violent relationship, it's after they leave. And so I was definitely really nervous, you know, until I got on that plane and left completely. But it was also just hard, you know, taking care of my 4-month-old and packing an entire house by myself. And then my dad flew in, and he was wonderful. Like, that was the first, he took care of my son for a bit, and that was the first shower I had, just the time to just, you know, take a shower and not have to worry about a baby crying or anything else like that since he had been born, which was really honestly everything to me was that shower. Okay, when you become a new mom, showers are everything. Like, a peaceful shower, it doesn't happen as often. It was just hard, and it was actually the week of my birthday. So my birthday, it was like barely any groceries, no cake, just me and my son, nobody else. Like, it was just a really, really depressing birthday, like, honestly. But wait, actually, I cannot tell you guys this story without telling you a God thing. So I feel like that's honestly when I left, was when I put my faith back in God, because I grew up as a Christian, and I kind of just, I don't know, I kind of went my own way. I was kind of like, I still always believed in Jesus and God, but I was just, I don't know, I was kind of tired of church and hypocrites, and I feel like I've learned a lot since then that, you know, no one's trying to be hypocritical. It's just true that even Christians are sinners, sinners are sinners, we're all gonna sin, like, we all fall short of the glory of God. Romans 5:8. But like, that's, I don't know if you guys see my tattoo. I'll explain more and like what my tattoos mean type of video on that. But I really put my faith back in God, and I had a phone call, like literally I was just calling my bank, and I was like, hey, I'm getting divorced, I need a new account because my husband had taken all the money out. Luckily I was able to get some back, but it was obviously devastating having a 4-month-old and having like almost no money. So I was like, I need to get a new account. And I said that I was getting divorced, and she like asked my birthday, and she's like, oh, you have a birthday coming up, and she like said happy birthday and whatnot. And she was like, oh, I see how young you are. And she's like, you know what, I was your age when I got divorced, and I just want to tell you that everything, you guys, I'm gonna cry. She was like, I never cry on camera, ever. Like, every single video I've ever done, I've never cried on camera. So if this is the first one, I'm sorry. But she was like, I just want to tell you that everything's gonna be okay. You guys, that was my bank lady. Just a random lady from USAA. Shout out to you guys, you're awesome. Okay, so I'm sure you guys are wondering like why after all this time I'm finally talking about this. And part of it is because I have a rule. If I'm gonna cry about it, I don't talk about it on camera. I just don't like being that vulnerable, because of course, obviously there's gonna be sweet people who understand, but like, I honestly, even now, I feel like I couldn't deal with anyone being hateful. Like, if anyone is mean on this video, you're getting blocked, and I'm sorry. But okay, sorry, I had to stop filming because I have like an oil thing near me, and it like starts being really loud and it's disruptive. So what I was saying is that I'm on a group on Facebook, and it's like all single moms, and it's just like for getting advice and just different situations. And I think it's really nice because it's no one that I know. Like, I've been on mom groups where it's people I know, and I'm like, I don't know, a little bit of side eye. But anyways, I saw someone do a post, and she was talking about how like the group gave her the courage to leave her abuser and go to a women's shelter and, you know, take her children and leave. And I was just so proud of her. And, you know, I've had people that have, you know, in my personal life, like the only place publicly that I spoke about leaving an abusive relationship was Twitter, my personal private Twitter. Nobody's going on there. And I did have a few people reach out to me, and one who left the person who was abusing her, one who stayed, which was really hard for my heart and my soul, and I pray for her all the time, and I hope she's doing better. But I felt like at first I was a little bit more vocal, and it helped, but now I've just kind of been quiet, and I want to just be a voice that if there's anyone watching my video who's in a situation where they don't feel safe, or they're just, even if it's not abusive, if it's just emotional and you just feel like you're being manipulated, or like if you're just not being treated the way that you deserve, like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Like, that's one of the reasons like I wanted to stay so long, is I didn't want to be wrong. I didn't want to get divorced. I didn't want to be like the black sheep of my family, which nobody treated me like that whenever it did happen. Nobody at all. Everyone was super supportive. I've only ever had one person say something rude to me, and honestly I don't even think that they realized, well, maybe they realized, maybe they just have an old-fashioned way of thinking. But like, just if you're out there and you are scared and you don't know what to do and you don't have the courage, like, you are strong. You are so strong, and you can do this. Like, I promise. Like, I wish that I had like some amazing like this is how I'm doing now type of story, which I'm still Still not doing amazing. Like, I'm not living on my own yet. Like, I'm living in my parents' basement, which was really, really like a lesson for me in humility, because I'm like the pain of, you know, living in your parents' basement, which honestly, I'm lucky that I have parents who, you know, would let, you know, they did a lot for me. You know, if you have somewhere to go, someone to help you, like, please don't stay in a bad relationship and make excuses. Like, I just want you to do what's best for you. And if you have kids, especially, then, like, you know, I like to think, like, who do I want my son to grow up to be? Do I want him to grow up, you know, learning what a man should be from me? Which obviously I'm not a man, but I can obviously instill good qualities in him. Or do I want him growing up thinking that you should treat women the way that the mistake did? So the really difficult part of my situation is that, you know, I don't know how other countries are, but in the United States, even if someone abuses you, obviously they still have rights to see the children and whatnot. And luckily with the army and whatnot, it hasn't been a problem thus far. But it is something I'm terrified of, because obviously my baby is my everything, and I never ever want anything to happen to him. You know, so that's just a really hard thing. And if you're a praying person, or you just want to send good vibes my way, whatever it is that you do, honestly, I appreciate it, because that's the worst. Like, having to, I don't know, potentially hand your kids over to someone who you know is evil. I just wanted to make this video. I need to drink some more wine. That's what I need to do. So I just wanted to share that, just so, you know, if there's anyone, if there's just one person out there who needs to hear this, because I remember when I was in a really bad place, Googling on YouTube, like, divorce or like abuse, and like, how do I leave, like, different things, just to get the courage, because, you know, I don't know, it's just easier to hear it from someone who's been through it. And I promise you that you might feel like you are not strong and that you are weak, but you have the strength inside of you to leave. And not to mention, I have, like, of course, like, I'm still working on bettering myself, and there's different parts of my life which I will share with you guys eventually, definitely, but I'm not open to sharing yet. You know, just different things that I'm working on to be a better person and to be a good provider for my son, and, you know, just all those different things. Like, I'm still working on my flaws. Like, I constantly, like, all the time, I get so insecure. I'm like, I do not have my life together. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm 21 years old. I have a baby. I'm in my parents' basement. Like, I get down on myself really hard. And, you know, I'm like, why do I suck at being financially responsible? Like, it's a whole thing. Like, I get mad at myself all the time. And it's just important to remember that we're human. It's okay to not have it together. It's okay to just be working towards it, to just have a goal. And I think that, you know, everything is going to work out in the end. I'm hoping so. But what I was going to say is that even though I'm still working on me, is that my mindset is completely different. Like, just when you leave that toxic relationship and you're on the outside of it, like, I swear, like, my mental health was completely changed. I used to have anxiety every single day, like, so bad. It's not even funny. Like, even if my son just had an appointment out of the house, like, just like a doctor's appointment, I would have the worst anxiety the night before. Like, I would not even want to get out of bed. And I think part of that was because of the mistake. Like, even in public settings, the mistake was so, like, controlling. Like, if someone even looked at me, he would get upset. Like, if I didn't walk right next to him in the store, he would get upset and try to say that I would look like I wasn't trying to be with him. Like, all kinds of things, like, would make him angry. So I think that's why going out in public settings started to make me really anxious. Okay, but seriously, how pretty is this look from this palette? I'm impressed, actually. I swatched some and it didn't work out as well, but some of these shades, ooh, these greens though. But now it's like I still have anxiety with certain things, or I feel like I have certain triggers. But for the most part, my days are a lot better. And I've actually overcome the biggest fear of my life, which I'm going to talk about eventually. I will once it gets even better, but I don't know, you just have to keep pushing yourself forward you have to work through the fear. And I think another thing that has been absolutely amazing for me, which I think one of the ladies, well maybe two of them from my group have mentioned watching my videos before, so I don't know if they're gonna watch this or not, but there is a group in my church and it is all women who have been widowed or divorced, and literally they are the sweetest group of women ever. Like, it's crazy. Like, they are so nice, and I feel like every single month that we have like our meeting or whatever, I get to know them better and learn more about them. And like, we've already cried together and laughed together so much. And it, like, at first I definitely felt like I stuck out because, you know, how many divorced 21-year-olds are you gonna find, honestly? So most of the ladies were a little bit older, or obviously if they were widowed, they were a little bit older. But honestly, I feel like I have an old soul. I've even gotten that here on YouTube before. People have told me that. And I feel like I don't know, I feel like I fit in, and I feel like, I don't know, they're just so sweet. I love their sense of humor. I love the things they talk about. I love that they've got God in their hearts, and I feel like, I don't know, I've learned so much from them, and I feel like they've been a good example for me. Like, they're like, some of them like travel all the time and just like live their dreams, and I don't know, it just inspires me to want to be more and to just, I don't know, live life to the fullest, if that even makes sense. I feel like I look really bronzy right now. So before I do my lips, which is probably just going to end up being a nude lip because that's what I always do when I have colorful eyes on, I just wanted to mention a few things really quickly. Just some advice for, like, if you do get out of an abusive relationship. I think that it's really important to surround yourself with positive thoughts and a positive mindset, and to just really truly be hopeful. Like, this was my reminder to have hope that everything is going to get better. And I think it's really important to share your story, even if it's not with like a huge ton of people like I'm doing right now on YouTube, which this is very nerve-wracking. Even if it's just one person, I think that it can be really helpful, just to find someone who understands those crazy feelings you're going through, and just to help you work through it. I think that can be really helpful. And just find it. Like, I have my best friend and I love her so much, like beyond words. But when it came to this, like when I first left, I had someone who had been through the same situation that I talked to, and I felt like it just meant so much talking to her because I felt like she completely understood my emotions, which was great. And you know, I think it's just important, like I said, to find someone who understands. I actually had a moment where I said that, you know, with my ladies group, and I said, you know, I live every day in fear that I'm gonna die, because what happens if I die? What happens with my son? And I know that probably sounds morbid, and it's not that I'm afraid of death, it's just that I'm afraid that my son would end up being hurt by the mistake. And the lady in my group said that she lived with that same fear, and she knew exactly what I meant, and that was her prayer every day to God, like, please don't let me die. And it just kind of hit me really hard, because it's like, it just helps so much to know that you're not alone and that you have someone who, you know, just understands. I think that's really important. And even now, like, I think it's just important to not be too hard on yourself. Like, right, like in this very moment, I'm being hard on myself that, you know, what am I gonna say to my son? What if one day he watches this? Like, I don't even know how to tell him, like, when he starts asking. So it's just a hard thing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Fenty Glow lip gloss because I haven't worn this in forever. So nice. I'm actually gonna go back on my lip liner and kind of blend. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some House of Lashes Iconic Lashes real quick. Okay, so this is the finished look. I hope you guys like how it turned out. I really do. I think that the green shades in the Slush palette performed really well. And I hope that this video, like, either you like needed to hear this message, or if you didn't, you got to learn a little bit more about me and just what I've been through, because I feel like it really does change you as a person, you know, just the way that I think, my perspective on life. I feel like I'm a lot more cautious now, and I've definitely thought about doing a video. Like, I thought about it, I never like put it in motion because I was afraid to even make this video and talk about it in general, of like red flags in a relationship and what I would avoid and what I've learned. So I don't even know if I could do a whole video on that. You guys will have to let me know if you want to see it or not. I don't even know. I don't know if I could film it, because it would be, I don't know, kind of getting into detail, and I don't know, it makes me so nervous to talk about this. But I just want you guys to know that you are so loved, that, you know, you should love yourself, that you are worthy of respect, and you deserve to be treated with decency, and you should never settle for less just because, you know, you feel like you can't get more or anything like that. Like, you are good enough, I promise. And I'm sending all my love to you, all of you who are watching this. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.